I knew I wanted to do this video because I wanted to at least Hello everybody, it's Kristen here. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be wrapping up 2017 by doing a top 5 best books of the year and top 5 worst books of the year. I really wanted like a top 10, but I decided I'm going to limit it down. I'm really going to pick the books that I thought were the best and that were the worst. So I am ready to talk about these books with you. Today I am trying a gingerbread coffee. It's not the best, but it's okay. It's Christmas is almost over. I'm trying to keep the Christmas spirit alive with my Christmas lights and my Christmas coffee, but just gotta welcome in the new year, however sad that may be. I don't have all the books with me. Some of them I got from the library when I read them earlier in the year, and some of them I've lent out to people because I want them to read it. We are going to start with the worst books of 2017, and then we can save the best for last. While I am talking about all the books, in the cards I'm going to link the videos where I did end up talking about these books, whether it is a separate book review or it was in a wrap-up. So if you really want to hear more of my thoughts on the book, you can head to that video that I'll put in the cards, whatever side. You think I would know, but I don't. I am ready to talk about the worst books of 2017. I did rank the books from number 5 all the way to the top worst book. I just want to say before I get started, a disclaimer that this is just my personal opinion. I just didn't enjoy these books like I thought I was going to. If you love these books, I'm really happy because then that means that the book, it still is loved by other people. I just didn't like it myself, so don't hate me in the comments. If you love it, that's awesome. I just didn't love it. The number 5 is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. I listened to this one in audiobook earlier in the year, and I just didn't enjoy it. It's a young adult like mystery, murder mystery, can you say? They were trying to have all these little details that would make it really interesting and everything, and I just couldn't follow along very well. I just felt like I didn't connect with any of the characters. I will say that the ending was really surprising. I didn't expect that, so that did make it better for me, but overall, it got a lot of hype on BookTube, and I just didn't enjoy it. Maybe because it was audiobook, I didn't like the narrator, but I just still didn't really connect with the story very well. So that is number 5. Number 4 on this list, I actually do have the physical copy with me, and that is Longbourn by Joe Baker. Didn't enjoy this book. My mom and me, Buddy, read this book in May for my Mother's Day challenge, and neither of us enjoyed it. It just was, I don't know. This book centers around the servant side of the story in Pride and Prejudice. So I do like the servants aspect of it, but I just did not enjoy how it was written. I felt like it didn't do justice to Pride and Prejudice, and it kind of was weird to be reading something that was set in the Pride and Prejudice world, but it just wasn't the same. I did connect with the servant. I forget her name. So I did connect with the main character, but I don't know. I didn't like it as much. I think I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Number 3 on my list is The Deep by Nick Cutter. I actually did a separate review for, so if you want to hear more thoughts, you can go watch that video. But for this book, it was a thriller horror, and I loved the first third of it. The second third of the book was just a lot of descriptions and kind of scary, but like flashbacks to the character's past, and just kind of, you didn't really know what was going on. And the last third was just like, okay, can this book just end? And then it ends, and I did not like the ending. It was just such a pitiful ending. I don't read tons of horror thrillers, so I did enjoy the experience of reading this book. I just was really disappointed by the ending, and I think I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars too. I don't think I've given any books 1 or 2 stars this year, which am I being too generous with my stars? But yeah, that one did not enjoy. I enjoyed the first third of it, and then it just kind of went downhill until, and it just was not that good. All right, moving on. Number 2 on my list is, if I can find it, Cruel Beauty by Rosamund Hodge. Now this is a young adult fantasy romance because it is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, but it wasn't done that well. I forget what I rated it on Goodreads, but honestly, reflecting back on it, I felt like it was a bad retelling because there's so many retellings of Beauty and the Beast, and if you can't pull it off really well, it's just not going to be good. Like, it's not, I I don't want a lackluster retelling of Beauty and the Beast. I want a really good retelling. The author tried like a Greek god twist on it, or Greek gods, or Roman mythology, or something along those lines. And it just didn't end up being that good. I didn't really like it. I actually lent this book out to someone and she said she didn't really enjoy it either. So what you gonna do? Finally, to the top worst book of 2017, and it's actually a series, and I DNF'd the series, and that is Graceling by Kristin Cashore, and the second book is Fire. The third book is Bitter Blue, and I didn't read it because I did not want to invest my time and energy into reading the series. I really struggle with DNFing books, so I didn't DNF Graceling or Fire, but I DNF'd the series. That's a pretty big move for me because I don't DNF very often. This is a young adult fantasy, and it has a really awesome concept, but it's executed so poorly. There was no world building. The way I think of this book is I remember the characters, but I have no scenes around them. Like, it's literally just the characters, and it's like this foggy gray background because I felt like there was no world building. I didn't have any details to make me think about it. And such a great concept because the main character, I forget her name, the main character Katza is a Graceling, and basically there's people in the world who have these giftings, and it's a grace to do a particular action really, really well. So some Gracelings, their skill is they're an amazing cook, or you could be an amazing tree climber, or an amazing, archer, or something like that. With Katza, she has the ability to kill people really well. Really interesting concept, but just done really poorly. And then the second book, Fire, I just could not handle. I just was frustrated with the main character and the storyline, and it just, again, it could have been done really well, but it just was young adult cliche all around, and I just didn't enjoy it. So yes, this series ranks the worst book of 2017 for me. And honestly, again, it's not that it wasn't horrible. It just, to me, wasn't done really well. And maybe to some people, they thought it was done really well, and maybe I just didn't read it well. Maybe I just didn't enjoy the reading experience. I couldn't connect with it and whatever. So yeah, I didn't enjoy that. But if you did, then I'm really glad that, because it is a very popular series, and maybe just because I'm older, I expected a little more. I don't know. Is that a thing? But yeah, didn't really enjoy it. Now to move on to the best books of 2017. This is what I'm really excited for because I had some awesome reads this year. And to be honest, a decent amount of it is fantasy, but what's new? Again, I'm going from 5 all the way up to top book of 2017. Number 5 on the list is The Fate of the Tearling by Erika Johansen. This is book 3 in the Tearling trilogy. I read this earlier this year. I'm pretty sure I read it earlier this year. Yeah. And I loved it. It was so good. It was such an interesting conclusion to a series. I made my sister read this whole trilogy and she really enjoyed it, but she didn't like the ending. And we had this kind of like little frustrated little conversation about it. But at the end of it, I was like, I just really liked how it ended. And she didn't, but I did. And so that, that talks into a whole thing. Again, if you like these books and I didn't, that's okay. Because one of my top 5 books, I loved it, and my sister didn't really like the ending, but that's okay. So what makes the Tearling trilogy so interesting is that it's fantasy with the medieval setting mixed with dystopia, and it just takes you so many different places. So I highly recommend this series. I don't think it's for everyone. Like, I don't think everyone will love it, but I personally love it. So if you think you have reading tastes that are very aligned with mine, then you probably will really like this series. So if you've read it, if you haven't read it, let me know what you think of it, because I think it's got mixed reviews on BookTube, but I like it. Moving on to number 4 on my list, and that is The Lies of Locke, Lamora by Scott Lynch. This is book 1 in the Gentleman Bastard series, and I really, really like this book. I think I did a separate review on it earlier this year. This is an adult fantasy series where the main character is a thief, and he's about to pull off this big heist, and it's following them as they do it and what happens afterwards. This was done so well. It is a more difficult series because it is adult fantasy, and the way it's written is a little bit heavier. It's like a lot of information and details and stuff, but I really like the characters. Takes you on a whirlwind adventure with all the characters. I do have books 2 and 3 I do have books 2 and 3, and I really, really want to get to this series because I think I read the Liza Locke Lamora in June, possibly. I haven't picked it up, and that's bad because I'm sure I forgot lots of details. So I really, really want to finish this series. I didn't put that in my 2018 reading goals. You better be sure that I will try to read it. But yes, really, really enjoyed this book this year. I'm running out of space because you can't see these books in the shadows. Literally, it's just like me and the lights that you can see in the word read. Number 3 on my list is the only nonfiction book out of all of my top 5s, and that is A Long Way Gone, Memoirs of a Boy Soldier by Ishmael Beah. This is a memoir of, like it said, a boy soldier from Sierra Leone. This book was incredible, the story was incredible, and my heart was broken by reading this, but in a good way. This was such an interesting read. I finished this recently, actually, maybe November, I think it was. In my November wrap-up, I talk about it. It's actually not that big of a book, but the whole life story of Ishmael is amazing and what he's been through, and I said in the wrap-up how I'm amazed everything that happened to him in his childhood, and then he went on to finish his high school diploma, and then he went on to post-secondary education and wrote this book. I think that's incredible. So if you are slightly interested in this book, I just say go 100% interested, pick it up, read it, and then let me know what you think about it. Number 2 on my list, I don't actually have, and that's because I lent it to my sister because I want her to read it in 2018. And that book is The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. This, I'm sure everyone has heard of this book. It is a historical fiction set in World War II, and we're following a German family, mainly a German girl named Liesel, as she navigates what's going on in Germany in this time. It is written so beautifully. I can't get over the story that was written and how it was told and who the narrator is and all the characters you meet, and it just is so good. So if you haven't read The Book Thief, I'm sure it's been recommended to you by tons of other people, and I'm going to join that train and recommend that book to you. It was so good, worth your time reading it. I probably will reread it in the future. I don't know when, but I know I will in my future. All right, and the top book, which is a series of 2017, is the Mistborn Trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. This is book 2 because I have lent book 1 out again because I want people to read it. This is an adult fantasy series, just so stinking good. The world that Brandon Sanderson creates and the magic system he creates is amazing. You add in an amazing plot. You have got me hooked. Brandon Sanderson writes an amazing plot, and he's got a fetish for having the last 50 pages of his books like punch you in the face multiple times, because the twists and turns that his books take are incredible. So I love the plot of this series, and I actually have the 3rd book coming. I want to give away, and so I got the 3rd book, The Hero of Ages, so it's coming very soon. And you bet your bottom dollar I'll be reading it in 2018 very soon. So yes, best book or best series of 2017 goes to the Mistborn Trilogy. That is my top 5 worst and top 5 best books of 2017. I knew I wanted to do this video because I wanted to at least... I wanted to do a summary of 2017 in some sort of way, so I might do another review in more detail, but for now, this is my top 5 best, top 5 worst books. Let me know some books that were either the worst for you, really disappointing, really frustrated you, or some books that were amazing, blew your mind, were incredible, and you want me to read it. If you have some recommendations from 2017, let me know. I'm always happy to receive recommendations. That is all I have for you guys today. It is literally a few days until 2017 ends, and I can't believe it. I've just switched my mind into writing 2018 down, but we all know that's not going to happen for at least 6 months of 2018. And I will not be writing that. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Give this video a big thumbs up. Click subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!